democracy, and the politicization of everything. What set the United States apart from many other nations, both past and present? Why did American society succeed while others were seen as less civilized or dysfunctional? People often attribute American greatness to factors like free markets, a strong work ethic, immigration, or religious beliefs. These explanations might be valid. However, a crucial factor behind America's prosperity was that it was founded on the idea of limited government. This meant that only a few issues entered the realm of politics in the United States, particularly at the national level. Throughout history and in most parts of the world today, almost anything can become a matter of politics, such as personal choices regarding one's body, money, and more. In societies worldwide, many decisions are made through group agreement followed by forceful implementation. In any village, numerous actions are subjected to democratic discussions, leaving nothing truly private. For ages, tribal members, clan elders, and religious leaders have gathered to deliberate on various matters. It seems that humans have always had a tendency to exert control over one another. The founding fathers of America, as well as the American people as a whole, displayed a remarkable level of self-restraint when it came to exerting absolute authority over their fellow human beings through the state. They also acknowledged that certain matters were beyond human control and entrusted them to a higher authority. However, similar to societies around the world, the people of the United States have gradually given in to the temptation of controlling one another. Sadly, the society that was once known for its freedom has now lost its sense of liberty, ushering in an era where almost everything becomes subject to political scrutiny. We have entered the age of the politicization of everything. The United States of America once seemed almost apolitical and amoral at its core. It was certainly less political than its counterparts all over the globe, devoid of individualism and liberty. Politics were meant to serve the first principles of government, such as preventing its own collapse, or the common good or the supermajority. Politics were meant to serve the greatest good, goods for everyone. Policies were meant to have the government serve its prime functions of protecting life and liberty and property, as was espoused by Enlightenment philosophy. The United States of America used to have a distinctive quality of being almost apolitical and having a sense of amorality at its core. It was notably less politically driven than other countries, emphasizing individualism and liberty. Politics had a purpose to uphold the first principles of government, such as preventing its own collapse or promoting the common good for the majority. The aim was to serve the greatest benefits for everyone. Policies were designed to ensure that the government fulfilled its primary responsibilities of safeguarding life, liberty, and property, as advocated by Enlightenment philosophy. American politics has become all-encompassing, covering economic and social aspects. Every subject is now subject to public discussions, group debates, and collective approval. This politicization of everything has transformed America into an ordinary society, losing its distinctiveness. Politics has become narrow-minded and trivial, with legislation often favoring a select few rather than the majority. Minority politics now hold significant sway. The American mindset has regressed to the common mentality observed throughout most of human history. The government is now seen as all-powerful, capable of enforcing any action through coercion. Consequently, there is a populace that seeks to utilize this immense state power to impose their will upon the entire society. Politics has permeated every facet of life. Alas, it seems that politics has the ability to dismantle everything it touches. Everything is now political. Verily, politics destroys everything. How and why did our society become so political? The politicization of everything has various origins, but there are 5 key contributors. The politicization of everything, the unscientific revolution. The progress of science has intensified the politicization of everything. Not long ago, we lacked the ability to manipulate nature on atomic, chemical, and biological levels. Consequently, we perceive nature as something greater than humanity, not meant to be controlled by us. Nature held power over us, not the other way around. However, things have changed with our scientific advancements. We now believe that we can decipher the codes of nature through science and eventually gain control over it, including control over mankind. While scientific progress is remarkable, it becomes perilous when combined with unwavering faith in the state. We have bestowed authority upon both science and the state, drifting away from the principles of individual liberty and limited government advocated in Enlightenment philosophy. Groups of individuals, relying on their expertise, devise plans to dominate all aspects of life, encompassing both nature and humanity. Our newfound faith in science further politicizes human actions, compelling us to empower a powerful class of scientists known as the technocracy with the aid of the state. The unscientific revolution holds certain beliefs that humans can control nature and that the state can control humans. However, neither of these beliefs is true. When people believe that science can accomplish anything, it leads to the notion that the natural world should be under human control. We seek to shape nature according to our desires, aiming for a potentially more equal society. The unscientific revolution rejects the idea that life's outcome is predetermined by nature or a higher power. Instead, society is seen as a human creation, something that can be engineered through scientific means and guided by scientists. Consequently, we now desire to exert governmental control over aspects of existence that were once unimaginable, including the economy, wealth distribution, social hierarchies, weather manipulation, birth rates, and even matters of life and death. For better or worse, the expansion of scientific knowledge has led to a corresponding increase in political involvement and influence. The politicization of everything, the death of religiosity. The decline of religious influence has contributed to the increasing politicization of everything. The concept of the separation of church and state can be seen as a separation of morality and the state. In the past, the church was closely associated with moral values. As the influence of the church has diminished in Western civilization, a new dogma rooted in left-wing ideology, often referred to as wokeism, has gained prominence, particularly in America. While Christians were traditionally taught to prevent their personal beliefs from overpowering their politics and policies, it appears that left-wing ideologues have been taught the opposite approach. Consequently, individuals and groups on the left do not restrain their moral inclinations when formulating policies. This has led to a situation where politics has become an ongoing competition of conflicting moral dogmas, each striving to control the others through political means. It appears that our policies increasingly reflect our personal moral beliefs. Nowadays, most of our laws have a moralistic nature, whether they pertain to healthcare, education, or the economy, among others. We have even started moralizing viruses and weather. Thus, whether you are a religious right-wing individual or a left-wing atheist, it becomes necessary to inject your own morality into our political discussions. Not only are we politicizing more actions, but the matters we politicize also tend to be moral in nature. A century ago, the majority of our major laws were enacted for practical or pragmatic reasons. They were amoral in nature, aimed at serving the progress and well-being of our nation. The moon landing and the creation of a national highway system, for example, were primarily driven by practical considerations rather than moral intentions. Today, our policies often seek to reflect our moral stance on various issues. Take healthcare as an example. Universal healthcare, initially implemented for the survival and advantage of smaller nations, was not granted based on moral grounds. However, in modern times, the healthcare debate has become predominantly moralistic. The blending of morality and politics has the potential to create significant divisions within society. It is akin to merging religiosity and politics. We have ample evidence from around the world that distinct religious groups aiming to impose their ideologies on others through the state can lead to friction, and in some cases, even contribute to the downfall of a nation. The politicization of everything, the rise of democracy. Our liberty is now being thwarted by our democracy. The decline of negative rights and the rise of positive rights through democracy have diminished the value of liberty and led to a larger state. Above all else, this trend has fueled the politicization of every aspect of our lives. Enlightenment philosophy, influenced by John Locke's ideas, aimed to restrict the role of government to the protection of life, liberty, and property. Our founding leaders were well aware of the dangers posed by politics and democracy. Politics operates as a zero-sum game, where someone's gain comes at the expense of another. They understood that limiting government was crucial and implemented various measures to achieve this goal. Imagine a world where democracy was heavily restrained, as originally intended by the U.S. Constitution. This design made it difficult to politicize everything by imposing restrictions on legislation, such as limited voting rights for property owners, the filibuster rule requiring the support of 80 senators, the absence of income tax or central banking, and more. Over the past century, liberty has significantly eroded. More democracy allows for greater politicization. Democracy serves as the vehicle for expanding the superorganism that is the state. Liberty acted as a check on democracy and the politicization of everything. It is no coincidence that the rise of politicization aligns with the broader democratization of society. For a more extensive exploration of these ideas, please refer to our works, Our Liberty versus Our Democracy. The politicization of everything, information technology, the global village, and the rise of Little Brother. Information technology has only escalated the politicization of everything. We now have the technological tools to know more and more about anyone, to invade the privacy of our fellow man, to create a global village. Knowing everything about everyone is how humans lived throughout history. It is how many people still live today in smaller towns and villages all across the globe. Such intimate settings have their perks. There are no strangers in smaller societies, and thus less crimes and perhaps more trust. Small societies also have their drawbacks, as personal lives are out in the open. Knowing more and more about our fellow man has only encouraged us to politicize more and more human actions. The mob now has input on more and more of our life, since the mob knows more and more about our life via the internet. The mob can closely follow your actions minute by minute in real time. Everyone considers your personal dealings to be their personal dealings. Mistakes or lapses in judgment cannot be hidden from society in a world in which everyone has the technological means to monitor everyone. Technology will enable us to live in a society of little brothers. We will come to know more and more about one another through the use of the internet, AI, cameras, smart glasses, databases, etc., etc. Imagine a world in which smart glasses allowed us to facially recognize every individual and then know all their attributes instantaneously. Attributes such as marital status, bank account balance, political affiliation, criminal history, purchase preferences, etc., etc. Imagine a world in which camera contact lenses allow you to record everyone in society and live stream everything. Society would become even more tribal as we monitor everyone in real time. In the not-so-distant and dystopian future, what you eat, what you wear, the way you speak, where you work, where you shop may all be based on your political affiliation. And your political affiliation will be monitored by technology, not corporate technology or government technology, but the technology worn by your fellow citizenry. In-groups and out-groups may emerge due to technology, returning us to more uncivilized times. The new world may be like the old world, one in which everyone knows everything about everyone, and therefore people may wish to then control every action of their fellow man, as people currently do in tribal settings. Ultimately, the politicization of everything may be the inevitable byproduct of the growth of information technology. The politicization of everything, the rise of the internet, mass media and communication in the form of radio and television are highly centralized and controlled by only but a few actors. It becomes easy for a small group of individuals to create a narrative and then bombard society with said narrative using centralized means of communication. The owners of radio and television created narratives that became gospel to the populace. Thus, throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, our populace had one primary worldview due in large part to the centralization of media. Controlled mass media allowed very few ideas to flourish, and minority ideas were easily suppressed. The control over narrative brought about a faux harmony as members of society were propagandized into following one narrative, more or less, whether that be a war on drugs, or a war on poverty, or a war on terror, the ideal of neoliberalism, etc., etc. The internet decentralizes information. The internet allows 1,000 flowers to bloom. The internet allows a near infinite number of ideas to capture the attention and imagination of society. Various groups now use the internet to spread their ideas. Minority actors can now quarrel with the majority who once controlled the flow of information. Moreover, minority actors and ideas that had no ability to gain prowess in the days of centralized media now realize that they can become the majority if they spread information via the internet. Thus, they arduously fight previously dominating ideas and institutions for supremacy, which brings our political battles to the surface. One can say that the world has always been political. The only difference between today and 30 years ago was the fact that the public narrative was completely controlled by one group of actors. Thus, whatever the actors wished to do was done. Therefore, there was no open war between battling ideas for all to see. Today, when the powers that be wish to compel society into a certain set of actions, competing narratives have the ability to rise up due to the internet to convince people that such actions are not good for their well-being. Competing ideas create public quarrels. Therefore, the world appears to be more political. For the past 50 years, neoliberals and leftists have used centralized media such as newspapers, radio, and television to dominate the narrative. Any political group can now use the internet to capture a global audience and change the hearts and minds of the world, to craft their own narrative and to set the global agenda. The internet and the decentralization of information has only empowered our political war. The politicization of everything. The dark side. Let us take the politicization of everything to its most extreme. Democracy will overwhelm reality. The public sector will increase dramatically. We will end up in a world dominated by the superorganism that is the state. Negative rights shall be taken away and positive rights will be granted, and every man and every object shall become property of the state once we embark upon the politicization of everything. Big politics will lead to an even bigger government. Individual liberty will completely erode. Democracy and the will of the voter will have usurped reality. In the private sector, we will see a world in which all our actions become political. Man will monitor one another. Friendships and family will be based on ideology. The way we interact in public and with private companies will be based on political decisions, since everyone is monitoring everyone. Concepts such as individualism and privacy and meritocracy and decentralization will be diminished or completely lost. Verily, the politicization of everything will both bankrupt and destroy any nation. Politicization of everything. Who benefits? The politicization of everything holds certain advantages for specific groups, incentivizing them to perpetuate and expand the role of the state. Here are a couple of groups that benefit from this phenomenon. Politicians. The increasing politicization provides politicians with a greater opportunity to amass power, exert influence, and acquire financial resources. By expanding the scope of political control, they gain the ability to shape policies, regulations, and decisions that affect various aspects of society, ultimately consolidating their own authority. These dynamics create a feedback loop where politicians gain more power and influence, while those who perceive themselves as disadvantaged or unable to succeed independently turn to politics for solutions. As a result, the state expands, and the scope of politicization continues to grow, potentially impeding the freedom and efficiency that can be achieved through individualism and free market mechanisms. Those that hate merit, individuals or groups who struggle to achieve their objectives through the free market, or within a society that values individual liberty, may find solace in the politicization of everything. By advocating for political intervention and control, they can seek assistance, resources, or special privileges from the state that they might not have been able to attain through voluntary exchange or personal efforts. It is worth noting that while certain groups may benefit from the politicization of everything, the erosion of meritocracy and the narrowing of decision-making criteria can ultimately hinder overall societal progress and individual freedom. It is crucial to strike a balance that allows for democratic discourse, while also upholding the principles of merit-based competition and individual achievement. Social activists, individuals or organizations advocating for specific social causes can benefit from the politicization of everything. By framing their issues within the political sphere, they can raise awareness, mobilize support, and push for policy changes that align with their objectives. This allows them to shape public discourse and potentially influence societal norms and values. Interest groups. The politicization of various aspects of life gives interest groups a platform to advance their agendas. Whether representing business associations, labor unions, or other specialized factions, they can actively engage in political lobbying and pressure tactics to shape legislation and regulations in their favor. This enables them to protect their interests and secure advantages that may not be attainable in a purely merit-based system. Ideological movements. Political polarization and the politicization of everything provide fertile ground for ideological movements to gain traction. By promoting their particular beliefs and values through political means, these movements can attract followers, mobilize support, and potentially influence policy outcomes. This allows them to advance their visions for society and implement changes that align with their ideological goals. Politics is for losers and theives. In today's world, politics has become an all-encompassing force that permeates nearly every aspect of our lives. From the decisions we make to the values we hold, politics has managed to seep into the very fabric of society. However, it is worth questioning whether the obsession with politics is truly beneficial, or if it primarily serves as a refuge for those who have failed to thrive in a merit-based system. This article explores the notion that politics, far from being a realm of power and influence, is actually a realm of defeat for those who cannot succeed on their own merits. The merit-based system. In an ideal merit-based system, success is determined by an individual's abilities, talents, and hard work. Those who excel in their respective fields rise to the top, achieving recognition and reaping the rewards of their efforts. Meritocracy fosters competition, innovation, and the pursuit of excellence. It rewards individuals based on their skills and achievements, providing a level playing field for all participants. The loser's sanctuary. For individuals who struggle to succeed within a merit-based system, politics becomes a refuge, an arena where they can assert influence and attempt to shape outcomes without the need to demonstrate competence or merit. Instead of striving to excel and compete on an equal footing, they turn to political maneuvering, lobbying, and alliances to advance their agenda. Politics allows these losers to bypass the requirement of proving their worth on their own merits and instead rely on group dynamics, rhetoric, and manipulation to gain power. The allure of victimhood. Politics thrives on victimhood, where individuals can claim oppression or marginalization to rally support and demand preferential treatment. The perceived powerlessness of certain groups becomes a tool to garner sympathy and mobilize political movements. By framing themselves as victims of a system that favors the privileged, they seek to gain advantages and special considerations that go beyond merit and undermine the principles of a true meritocracy. A path to mediocrity. By focusing on politics as a means of advancement, individuals risk neglecting personal growth, development, and the pursuit of excellence in their chosen fields. Instead of honing their skills, expanding their knowledge, and contributing to their communities through merit, they invest their energy in divisive rhetoric and seeking political validation. The pursuit of genuine achievement takes a backseat, perpetuating a cycle of mediocrity that hinders societal progress. The death of merit. While it is tempting to view politics as a realm of power and influence, it is crucial to recognize that it often serves as a sanctuary for those who cannot thrive in a merit-based system. By prioritizing political maneuvering over personal growth and genuine achievement, these individuals embrace a path of mediocrity, relying on victimhood and rhetoric to compensate for their shortcomings. Instead of succumbing to the allure of politics, let us foster a society that encourages individual excellence and rewards merit, breaking free from the cycle of defeat and embracing the true potential of human achievement. Why are losers and thieves drawn to politics? Perceived opportunity for power and influence. One factor that could attract individuals with questionable motives to politics is the perceived opportunity for power and influence. Political positions often carry significant authority and the ability to make impactful decisions that shape the trajectory of a nation. For some, the allure of power can be irresistible, drawing in those who seek personal gain or control over others. Lack of transparency and accountability. The lack of transparency and accountability within political systems can create an environment where individuals with questionable motives can thrive. In some cases, individuals who have faced failures or are involved in dishonest activities may see politics as an avenue to evade scrutiny and continue their questionable practices. The absence of robust mechanisms to vet candidates and monitor their actions can allow such individuals to slip through the cracks. Desire for power. Politics provides an avenue for individuals who crave power, authority, and control over others. For those who feel powerless or marginalized in other areas of life, the political realm offers an opportunity to assert influence and enact change, often without the need for exceptional personal achievements. The triumph of meritocracy, liberating society from the shackles of democracy. In an age where politics infiltrates every aspect of our lives, it is imperative to critically examine the impact of democracy on societal progress and individual freedom. While democracy has long been hailed as a fundamental pillar of governance, it is worth considering whether the elevation of meritocracy, rather than a delicate balance with democracy, can pave the way for a more prosperous and liberated society. The power of meritocracy. Meritocracy, at its core, rewards individuals based on their abilities, talents, and accomplishments. It encourages competition, innovation, and the pursuit of excellence, creating an environment where individuals can thrive and contribute to the betterment of society. By valuing merit above all else, we tap into the full potential of human talent, unburdened by the constraints and compromises that accompany democratic decision-making processes. When democracy becomes mobocracy. In a democratic system, the principle of equality and fairness is fundamental. Laws and policies are designed to apply to everyone equally, without singling out specific individuals or groups. This ensures that the rights and interests of all citizens are respected and protected. For example, in a democracy, if a tax increase is approved, it would be applied universally to all citizens. The burden of the increase would be shared by everyone in proportion to their income or wealth, regardless of their social status or affiliation. This approach promotes a sense of fairness and collective responsibility. In contrast, a system that could be described as mobacracy would prioritize the interests of the majority over the minority. This could result in laws and policies that unfairly target specific individuals or groups while exempting or benefiting the majority. For instance, in a mobacracy, the majority might impose higher taxes exclusively on a particular group they perceive as wealthy, while simultaneously reducing taxes for themselves. They might also manipulate regulations to disadvantage certain industries or products used by a specific minority, effectively limiting their economic opportunities and freedoms. The danger of mobacracy lies in its potential to erode the principles of equality, justice, and the protection of individual rights that are essential to a thriving democratic society. In a true democracy, every citizen is held accountable to the same set of laws, and decisions are made through inclusive processes that respect the rights and interests of all members of society. The triumph of meritocracy. By embracing meritocracy as the guiding principle, we empower individuals to rise based on their skills, expertise, and contributions rather than their popularity or ability to sway public opinion. Meritocracy places competence and talent at the forefront, fostering an environment where expertise and knowledge are valued, and decisions are made based on evidence and rationality rather than emotional appeals or demagoguery. Unleashing human potential. In a meritocratic society, individuals are encouraged to pursue excellence, continuously improve their skills, and contribute to their fields of expertise. The removal of democratic constraints allows for greater flexibility and efficiency in decision-making, enabling innovative ideas to flourish and fostering an environment conducive to progress and societal advancement. Meritocracy liberates individuals from the shackles of populist sentiment, creating opportunities for genuine achievement and fulfilling their true potential. Meritocracy is better than democracy. While democracy has long been heralded as the pinnacle of governance, it is time to question its limitations and embrace the triumph of meritocracy. By valuing competence, expertise, and individual achievements, we can unleash human potential, foster innovation, and create a society that thrives on the principles of excellence and progress. Let us break free from the constraints of democracy and forge a future where meritocracy reigns, enabling society to reach unparalleled heights of success and individual freedom, ending the politicization of everything. In the United States, individualism and meritocracy were kings, but such ideals no longer stand atop society. Rather, feelings and voting blocs have begun to matter more due to the politicization of everything. Our future political madness can be combated by a return to a minimal state and the principles of individual liberty. Perhaps people will reduce the United States government, perhaps to its size at the beginning of the 19th century. How will reductions in government and politics arise? What forces may compel man to reduce the size and scope of politics and the state and return to a world of liberty? Perhaps the majority may come to realize that politics destroys everything, or perhaps a natural equilibrium may occur wherein other powerful forces such as the economy, or debt collapse, or religiosity, or technology compel individuals to reduce politics and embrace liberty and meritocracy. Perhaps the politicization of everything may cause the entire state to collapse, which may result in a complete political reset. Perhaps the rise of information technology may lead to a world of anarcho-capitalism, cryptanarchy, or allow us to create new states wherein individuals who share similar views live together, thus reducing the reason for politics. Resistance to the politicization of everything may be futile. even in a world in which we again wish to reduce politics from society and maximize our individual liberty by minimizing the state and democracy. We will still live in a world in which technology has given us the tools to know everything about everyone, to create a global village. Governments, corporations, and our fellow man may simply know too much about us, and thus our politics may be forever changed, not at the bureaucratic level, but at the societal level, where we harass citizens into conformity, forcing them to make every life decision based on political identity. Ultimately, one can only hope that man gets to choose between a world of liberty or the politicization of everything, and then one must hope that man chooses wisely, for politics does destroy everything.